Adventures Across Disney, My Journey to Win Over Every Princess. Episode 21, Words. In the Kingdom of Arendelle, women seem to be able to marry at the age of 13. But in the royal family, words, the princess must be over 16 years old to find her other half. And if it is the eldest daughter, an existence like Elsa will definitely inherit the throne, then you must be 18 years old before you can find your husband. Yes. Wang Fu. Isn't this a complication? Thinking of this double, Xiaowen suddenly frowned. He felt, anyway, no matter what the future is, he will not be able to get into trouble. Moreover, Xiaowen's parents, most likely, they will not agree to this request to cut off the bloodline surname. So Xiaowen silently admonished himself in his heart at this moment. If there really is that day, then you must not be tempted to get into trouble. Whoever gets into trouble is a dog. Xiaowen said it. Time gradually lost under Xiaowen's carving. He began carving in the afternoon. It wasn't until midnight that it was completely completed. Xiaowen passed through the last blue and blue 2 ropes. Finally, put them together in the palm of your hand. Look at the name and love on your work. He was very satisfied. Finally, Xiaowen took out the gift box from the drawer, with 2 brand new silk cloths. Wrap Elsa and Anna's jewelry and put it inside. Finally, the small black ball, containing the seeds of the sea dandelion was added. Take it together and put it together. Then I got up and went to take a shower. When I returned to the house, I took it out of the drawer, the aristocratic costume that Elsa asked people to send in the afternoon, and placed it at the bedside. After everything is ready, Xiaowen looked at Swain, who was carefree, and fell into a deep sleep. I was inexplicably envious in my heart. Why am I so young? You have to endure the fatigue that ordinary people can't bear. Bang! Xiaowen also fell on the bed, his eyes staring blankly at the sparks above his head. Then with a wave of your hand, it is extinguished. In the dark, gradually fall into a deep sleep. The next morning, Xiaowen got up early. After dressing the clothes placed on the side, after a while, there was a knock on the door. Xiaowen shook the sleeping Swain on the bed and asked, I'm going to the palace, do you want to come with me? In a daze, Swain snorted, hoo, Xiaowen. Don't make trouble, I'm still eating moon green fruit in my dreams, go by yourself. Well, then I wish you a good dream. Xiaowen did not force it. Stand up and take the gift box on the table. After adjusting your mindset, slowly walked out and opened the door. The moment the gate opens, Xiaowen saw that there were about a dozen palace guards outside the door, already standing there. A luxurious carriage in pure white stopped at the door. The doors have been opened and a red carpet has been laid on the floor. On the side of the red carpet, a fat butler in a dress smiled on his face after seeing Xiaowen, stretched his hands forward and made a gesture of please. Dear Mr. Charvan, the king and queen are already in the castle, waiting for your arrival, please follow me to the car. Xiaowen nodded and stepped into the luxurious carriage. With the sound of horses' hooves, this welcome team also drove in the direction of the palace castle. Half an hour later. Inside the royal palace castle, the royal couple took Elsa and Anna to breakfast with Charvan. Counted down, the Ainers at this time, it can be regarded as the first meeting with Xiaowen in the true sense. While eating breakfast, Xiaowen gave gifts to the 2 little princesses. He also gave the seeds of the sea dandelion as a gift, and after explaining its usefulness, he gave them to the king. King Ainer smiled and accepted the gift from Charvan. A few people chatted at the table. Xiaowen, I remember that your father is from the Duke of Xiao lineage in the Heegran kingdom, right? Xiaowen nodded. Well, yes. But I have never been to the kingdom of Heeglan, nor have I met the people of the Xiao family. The queen on the side personally cut a fruit for Xiaowen, handed it over, and said gently, it doesn't matter, just that we know. The king also interjected with a smile on the side. By the way, if you have time another day, you can also invite your parents and let them come to the castle as well. The extreme adventurers Shasts are very famous beings in our kingdom of Arendelle. The queen and I also really want to hear about their adventures and experiences. Xiaowen took a bite of the fruit unceremoniously and said vaguely, well, when I go back, I will bring your invitation to my parents. I think if there are no surprises, they will be honored to accept your invitation. Huh. That's good. Episode 22. In small talk with kings and queens, Xiaowen's apprehensive mood also gradually calmed down. He had thought that the king should be a serious and unsmiling man. But I didn't expect it to be so gentle and elegant, without a little shelf. Now Xiaowen has also figured it out. Anyway, he didn't have any ill will towards the 2 little princesses. I can meet my future husband early, make a good impression on the other person's heart. It's also a good idea. It's just that Xiaowen also sighed in his heart. Fortunately, there is a title of nobility, otherwise it would be difficult to handle. From the chat, Xiaowen also heard some taste. The future husband recognized him, the most basic prerequisite, that is the status of the nobility. Obviously, the other party had inquired about Xiaowen's family history a long time ago. Otherwise, it is impossible to know so clearly what country his father is from, and what kind of title the family is. But it's good to know. This also saved Xiaowen a lot of trouble. After breakfast, the royal couple took Charvan with their daughters. We wandered together in the palace garden for a while, and then left. They deliberately left their free time to their two daughters. Anna had been impatient for a long time. After seeing mom and dad finally leave, she couldn't wait to grab Xiaowen. Together with his sister Elsa, he took him to visit his castle. The little girl wore a hint of show-off. Every room in the castle was taken with Xiaowen to visit. Finally, after coming to the room dedicated to the collection of various exotic objects, Elsa also pointed to each treasure and began to introduce it to Xiaowen one by one. I have to say, a precious collection of an entire kingdom is very rich. Each piece of the collection has its own unique history. It's not just a rare thing. Listen to little Elsa's narration. Xiaowen even sketched a huge historical picture in his heart. It echoed in my heart and could not be calmed down for a long time. When Xiaowen walked out of the collection house with emotion, at the gracious invitation of the two little princesses, came to their boudoir. Click. The sound of the door opening sounded. Anna led Xiaowen into the dormitory where she and her sister lived. What surprised Xiaowen was, the room of the two little princesses is not a pink color. Instead, the room layout is dominated by light purple tones and supplemented by cyan blue. On the lilac bed futon, there are several patterns of violet flowers. It looks even more noble and elegant. Anna was running around the room. From various cabinets and corners, she took out her favorite toy. One by one, they were placed beside Xiaowen. Elsa also opened her own small cabinet. She took out some of her favorite things one by one and put them next to Xiaowen. Fill the dormitory at this moment. It was filled with cheerful laughter like Anna's silver bells. Let the whole room exude the atmosphere of youth and innocence. After the two little princesses have put their favorite things by the bed, Anna ran to Xiaowen's side, take his hand and say hopefully, Xiaowen, Xiaowen. Elsa and I also want to give you a gift. These are our favorite things. You have to pick one each. Of course. If you like them all, I will give them all to you. Xiaowen couldn't help but touch Anna's little head and nodded with a smile. He looked at the things on the bed and suddenly felt the personalities of Anna and Elsa, although it seems quite different, but inside, it's actually pretty much the same. Just like these toys on the bed, basically, the things that the two little princesses like are the same. It's just that the colors and types are different. Xiaowen was not perfunctory, carefully looked at Anna and Elsa's collection for a long time. Finally, in Anna's collection, a small gemstone pendant was selected. This gemstone is blue throughout, the inside is as transparent as glass, and it is very beautiful. Later, Xiaowen selected a beautiful royal blue bracelet in Elsa's collection. I don't know what this bracelet is made of. The surface looks like cloth, but it has a soft metallic texture to the touch, icy cold and felt great. Episode 23. After selecting the gift, Xiaowen was also not polite, and directly tied Anna's cyan gemstone pendant around his neck. Then he hung Elsa's royal blue bracelet on his hand. After doing this, Xiaowen looked at the joyful looks of the two little girls, and said with a smile, since it was given to me by Anna and Elsa, I will wear them on me forever. This represents a testimony of our friendship. Anna on the side heard Xiaowen's words. The bright smile on his face was almost silly. But silly is silly, cute is really cute. This little princess, who seems to have come out of a fairy tale, is always so lively. Innately can make people unconsciously indulge in her smile and can't help themselves. Likewise, on the other side of Xiaowen, there is also a little goddess Elsa who came out of a fairy tale. She wasn't as silly as Anna laughed, but the rich emotion in his eyes has been unabashedly exposed. After Xiaowen put on her bracelet, Elsa also silently took out the moon-green fruit pendant that Xiaowen gave her from the stone box. She had wanted to put it on herself, but hearing Xiaowen's words later, his hand stopped again. Finally, he walked to Xiaowen with some twists, handed him the pendant in his hand. He pointed to his snow-white and tender neck and said softly, Xiaowen. You bring it for me. Okay, no problem. Xiaowen did not hesitate, naturally stretched out his hand and took the pendant. Reaching up, he touched Elsa's snow-white skin that could be broken by blowing bombs, gently tied the pendant around her neck. Little Elsa saw this look on the side, beautiful big eyes lit up. Suddenly, he also came back from the giggle, immediately ran to the side and opened the stone box that Xiaowen gave him. Take out the pendant inside. Impatiently, he ran to Xiaowen. After he hung up for Elsa, he also handed over the pendant in his hand, and said softly, and coquettishly, Xiaowen, Xiaowen. You brought it to me too. My hands are not long enough to reach the back of my neck, Xiaowen sneered, looking at Anna's serious lie. That coquettish look is really cute to explode. Good, put it on for our little princess Anna too. He, Xiaowen is so good. Anna stood obediently in front of Xiaowen, let his hand put the pendant on himself. She felt the caressed hands on her neck, and her two big eyes narrowed into a crescent. It seems, it's like the look of enjoyment after eating the moon-green fruit yesterday. The warm time passed very quickly from the three of Xiao when getting along. They felt like they hadn't been messing around in the room for long at all. It's time for dinner. This dinner, it's hearty, but it's also long. Until 8 p.m. Xiao Wenkai was picked up by carriage from the castle. Although tired is a little tired, but Xiao Wen felt that his gains were huge. The exchange of tokens of love with the princess, the first meeting of the old man, and the privilege of entering and leaving the castle at will. From then on, you can go to the castle to eat and drink in a straightforward manner. It's really good. When the luxurious carriage sent Xiao Wen back home, the sky has completely darkened. This day is a feast tour of the palace. The moment he got out of the car, it's over. Xiao Wen returned home, after fighting with the lying corpse Swain. Daily life slowly passes in this calm and warm time. Xiao Wen didn't know if others had such a feeling. That was when you were little. Time always flies very slowly. You aspire to grow up every day. Just like Xiao Wen when he was a child in reality, he always wanted to grow up quickly. At that time, you can go to the internet cafe with your resident card, play games online. But really when he reached that age, look at the ID card in your hand. In fact, the idea of going to an internet cafe is no longer as strong as before. When Xiao Wen graduated from college and entered the society, again discovered, in the rest of my life, the best memories will always be when I was young. The older you are, the more tired you are to live, the more you have your mind, and the stress comes with you. However, fortunately, Xiao Wen at this time was still very happy. Because this year, Xiao Wen is 12 years old, Elsa is 13 years old, and Anna is 11 years old. Episode 24. At this time, Xiao Wen was already about 1.65 meters tall, not the little boy he used to be, rather, it is developed in all aspects. Very healthy sunny big boy. But alas, Elsa at this time, the height is still so much higher than himself. In this way, Xiao Wen felt very faceless. But it was little Anna who comforted him. This girl's height is only 1.55 meters at this time. Every time I see Xiao Wen, Anna would run up and be taller than him. It's just that from childhood to adulthood, there is no comparison. It is worth mentioning, Swain also grew up. In this magical world, the lifespan of elk can be compared to that of humans. So Xiao Wen is not worried. Swain would be growing up, slowly aging and dying. Today Xiao Wen has been living in the royal city all year round. The small house was also purchased by my parents. It became his second home with two little princesses. Early in the morning, Xiao Wen sat by the window, take out the diary that has been written down in the drawer and turn the first page. Slowly looked up, calendar of Arendelle, 785 AD, June 1st. From today on, Xiao Wen will not be a fat house again. I want to keep a diary. I want to record the best moments. Today is Children's Day. If I were in elementary school, I should be able to receive a reward from school snacks. It's a pity that this is not reality, but the kingdom of Arendelle in the wizarding world, and it is a pity that there is no such thing as Children's Day. But today, I still went to the castle and abducted the two little princesses who were studying. Pulling them, they ate and drank in the royal city all day, and they had a lot of fun. Finally, Anna covered her little belly and cried out for pain, which ended this happy Children's Day. June 2nd. Nothing to do today. Special day trip to the palace. June 3rd. Nothing to do today. Special day trip to the palace. June 8th. Nothing to do today. Special day trip to the palace. June 12th. Alas. It's a shame that I can't go to the palace anymore recently. King Aner actually said that when I go to the palace, the two princesses will not be able to calm down at all to study, and they just want to play with him. How is this possible? It was clear that I laughed at eating melons while they were studying with a bitter face. These two girls are angry, they just want to hit me. But don't say, it's been too decadent recently, and I have gone to the palace too many times, so I almost slept in the princess's bed. Belch. It seems to have slept already. I don't think I can continue like this. Princesses or something, it's all floating clouds. I'm going to work hard. Be self-reliant. Be persistent. To become the Vulcan Charvan, from tomorrow, I will retreat to cultivate the magic of the fire element. I can't let the princess tempt me anymore. Whoever goes out again will be a dog. June 13th. Can anyone tell me how to cultivate this fire elemental magic? This sat and sizzled. I dozed off, so bored. Forget it. This thing grew on its own, and I can't control it. But the weather is really good. If you go and kidnap the two little princesses out to play. Woo. June 14th. Nothing today, a day trip to the palace. November 2nd. Winter is coming, and there are still a few days before it seems to be the beginning of winter. The goblins have all woken up from their slumber, and yesterday they went to the deep valley with Swain to meet Carter. Grandpa Elder doesn't seem to have woken up yet, and he hasn't seen him this time. When Xiao Wen saw this, he directly turned back by half, and came to 6 years later. Calendar of Arendelle, 791 AD, January 15th. This winter, it seems to be colder than usual. However, the ground has frozen and snowed, so it will be great for Swain to take it skiing with him. January 16th. So much happened today, my brain is a little messy. Episode 25. When I went skiing with the two little princesses in the morning, something happened. Anna was so excited to play on the sleigh that she accidentally fell down. Before I could react, Elsa showed her magic and saved Anna. At that moment, I finally saw Elsa's magic, which was actually the power of ice and snow. After seeing this scene, the memory of the plot of the frozen world in my mind suddenly flashed a lot of pictures, but I didn't have time to think about it at that time. Because after Elsa showed her magic, she looked at me with incomparable hesitation and pitiful eyes. In this world, people have a natural resistance to existence with elemental magic, and they are called monsters. So this look in Elsa's eyes is obviously fear, afraid that my liking for her will turn into disgust and fear. When we returned to the castle, we took advantage of Anna's bath. I dragged Elsa to a room, pinched her little face, and boldly kissed her on the corner of her lips. I have to say, it feels cold and cold. In Elsa's shy and incredulous eyes, I also showed my little fireball. I have not uttered any words of comfort, for there is nothing more effective than being an alien being, accompanied by you. After Elsa's mind calmed down, her eyes seemed to have some kind of emotion for me deepened a lot. So I just said naturally, ice and fire have been the most compatible pair since ancient times. And then I was pecked on the lips by Elsa. In a good mood, this is the first time Elsa has taken the initiative to kiss me. Dowling little princess finally put down her guard and is ready to accept my big bad wolf. It's so nice. Before Anna came out, I told Elsa not to tell Anna about my fire magic. In Elsa's doubts, I explained to her. We are all people with elemental magic. If this matter is known by Anna now, then as an ordinary person, she will have a feeling of being rejected psychologically. In this way, it will cause a big gap between our feelings. After listening to my explanation, Elsa also understood the truth and solemnly agreed. In my opinion, since Anna is an ordinary person, then I should also be an ordinary person. I will accompany her to grow up carefree until she grows up. Of course, when little Anna becomes big Anna and her heart is no longer so fragile, it's not too late to tell her. When I returned home today, I thought carefully and reviewed the entire memory picture. I have recalled many plots of Frozen, although many of them are fragmented memories, but they can also roughly form a relatively complete plot line. This plot, and what I originally thought, is actually not much different. Disney animation, most of which are fairy tales. It's the kind of animation where you only need to see the beginning and guess the end. And in this process, you will still show your aunt smile and watch it patiently. Xiaowen saw the content of this part of the diary, and sighed secretly in his heart. Although the fairy tale ending is beautiful, the process is cruel. And these memories have no reference value. Because after his arrival, the timeline has changed. Make the future unknowable. Now Xiaowen is 12 years old. That is, Anna is 11 years old and Elsa is 13 years old. In the original plot, they were only 7 or 8 years old at most, and they had already had an accident. It seems that it was because of the loss of control of Elsa's magic that hurt Anna. Finally, the royal couple took them to the goblins for help. Anna was eventually treated. Then Elsa closed herself off. And the parents of the two little princesses also encountered waves in the process of going out to sea, and finally did not know whether they were alive or dead. The memory behind Xiaowen can't remember it very clearly. I only know that on the day of the succession to the throne, it seems that a prince has arrived and wants to kidnap his little Anna. And on the same day, Elsa's magic was out of control again. Finally, she left the royal city, come to the top of the snowy mountains, and create the ice and snow temple. Episode 26. The picture of the composition of memory fragments comes to an abrupt end here. Later, Xiaowen still couldn't remember clearly. Still, memories are memories. What will happen when the world line is headed? The butterfly effect produced by his arrival will bring about what kind of change we'll have to wait for time to prove. Xiaowen thought about all these years. After Elsa's little secret is discovered by him, he completely indulged in front of him, unabashedly using magic. I feel very envious. Because the magic of the two is compared, it's like an adult facing a kindergartner. Elsa's ice magic is like the creator of ice and snow in the world, and can be used and mobilized at will. And his Xiaowen is now a fireball. It's really just a ball. Nothing changes, no special effects at all. Abominable. The more I think about it, the more envious I am. Xiaowen complained. Both of them obviously have growth attributes, but Elsa's beginning is someone else's end. It is simply, the listener is sad, the listener is tearful. However, for Elsa, this is not normal. Over the years, Xiaowen has also taken her to find the elder grandfather of the goblin clan. When he saw Elsa's terrifying ice magic that could change at will. It's also shocking, no? Great elder of the goblin clan carefully examined the magic changes in Elsa's body. Finally, a conclusion was reached. That is, Elsa and Xiaowen are different. Xiaowen is a physique that can attract fire elements. It can grow, but there will be a limit. But Aisha is different. Her physique does not attract the ice element, but the magic in the body is constantly surging, as if inexhaustible. And the reason why it does not attract the ice element, it's because of herself. It is the existence of ice and snow elements that can be created. It seems that with her, there is ice and snow in the world. Xiaowen is using to absorb the fire element of the world Elsa created directly. In essence, it's two completely different forms. This unheard of situation made the Goblin Great Elder have a guess. That is, although Elsa is a mortal body, but the soul belongs to a certain collection of rules in nature. In other words, the human body, the soul of God. After saying his own guess, Xiaowen saw the solemnity in the eyes of the elder grandfather. He said Elsa's magic, it's growing at a breakneck pace. Although it still looks stable now, but no one can say for sure, will there be a day when her emotions suddenly get out of control, causing the vast ice and snow power in the body to completely erupt. It will be a disaster for Arendelle. This worry, Elsa did not know. This concern, the great elder of the goblin only told Xiaowen in private. Because of the emotional thing, if you don't say it's okay, nothing will happen. As soon as he says it, the other party will keep thinking and worrying about this problem. This leads to worse results. For the goblin long brain, Xiaowen agreed very much. After recovering the memory of Frozen, Xiaowen knew, if Elsa is unstable and emotional, it's really going to be big trouble. Xiaowen at that time, I was very worried about Elsa's situation, but then, the goblin elder said to him again, now Her Royal Highness is very stable in her mood, and she can control her elemental power very well. Although her stability is not half of yours, it is already very rare for this child. As long as there are no accidents in the future, after she grows up and her mood is mature, there will basically be no more accidents. The great elder's words suddenly made him worry a lot less. Xiaowen felt that the reason why Elsa's magic power could be stabilized, most likely because of their own arrival, let Elsa's inferiority and fear of her magic skills. Before you know it, it dissipates a lot. Those accidents that should have occurred years ago did not happen. Xiaowen believed, in his company, Elsa will definitely grow up safely, there will be no more misfortune and sorrow. After thinking about it, Xiaowen directly put the diary and the upper and put it aside. The diary thing, after writing this one, he never wrote again. Because he just needs to be lazy down, you don't even think that this thing exists. He can write a book in 7 years, which is already precious. Xiaowen with practical actions, proved a truth, that is a serious person without great perseverance. I really don't think about keeping a diary every day. Episode 27. Now Xiaowen is mainly thinking about a problem. Not so long ago, the family where Xiaowen belonged came with news from the kingdom of Heglin. It is said that his grandfather is seriously ill and is about to die. So let the subordinates bring news from afar, said that he wanted to meet Shastur and their family. I hope Xiaowen's father can go back. After learning the news, Xiaowen's mood didn't know whether it was good or bad for a while. Father's family, logically speaking, should indeed go back and recognize the door. And, most critically, if you marry one of the 2 little princesses in the future, it is necessary to obtain family documents and tokens. It's not just something that proves nobility, it is also to let the whole family know about this matter, and express full support and recognition, and not like a pair of wild mandarin ducks, silently got married. Shastur means, it is to let Xiaowen go back together and meet his grandfather, who he has never met, then get the paperwork and tokens done. Wait until next time you come back, so you don't have to take the time to go back. Not surprisingly, Shasta and Lola's final decision was to see the old man for the last time. So Xiaowen can't help it, I can only leave for a while. The reason why he didn't read the diary without fart, the main thing is that my heart is very melancholy. I want to see something healing, soothe your heart. For his parents' decision, Xiaowen actually approves. In every way, it is necessary to go back to the kingdom of Heglin. But, the kingdom of Hygrin is located from Arendelle, it's really too far away. If it's a good journey, it is also necessary to sail at sea for almost a month and a half, to get to your destination. A month and a half of time, honestly, Xiaowen was a little flustered. That means, one back and forth, he will spend at sea for at least 3 months. During this period, he could not escape from any danger. His natural ability is water or ice, so to speak. If there is danger, you can rescue it. But that indisputable thing is a little fireball. What can a fire do on the sea? Xiaowen, it is also convenient to grill grilled fish. But now that things have been decided, Xiaowen just complained in his heart. His parents had decided, just tomorrow afternoon, strive to reach the kingdom of Hygrin as soon as possible. I hope I can go early and come back early. Anyway, I don't have much pursuit in this life. In this world, Xiaoye's favorite thing to do, or nothing today, a day trip to the princess's boudoir. Mumbled in his mouth, Xiaowen stood up and took the diary to the room and put it down. He is going to say goodbye to the 2 little princesses today, moreover, and give Swain to them to take care of for a while. One person and one elk, after all, they are all partners who have grown up together since childhood. Sailing at sea is a dangerous and rewarding boring journey. Xiaowen still didn't want Swain to suffer this sin. So many years have passed, once a small elk Swain who he could hold with one hand, at this time it has risen to several hundred pounds. That stronger body, it has also shown that Swain has walked on the high-speed track of growth. The cute appearance of the little lump of childhood has long disappeared without a trace, and can only live in Xiao Wen's memory. After Xiao Wen cleaned up in the house, so he walked out the door and came to the gate. Outside the door, Swain is enjoying munching on a delicious carrot. Seeing Xiao Wen come out, he spat and greeted, "Hoo, good morning, Xiao Wen." "Good morning, Swain." After saying good morning to each other, Xiao Wen stepped forward, astride sat down on Swain's body, still saying in his mouth, "During the time you stay in the palace, don't give me fat. If I come back and see that you are fat and can't walk, I will die of laughter." Swallow the carrot in your mouth at room temperature. Shaking his feet, he began to walk slowly, still spitting in his mouth. How so?" "I must be thinking about tea and not eating, and I don't want to worry about you when you come back. Maybe I will lose weight." I almost believed your nonsense." "No, I have to go and tell Anna and Elsa that I can't get used to you. Just eat one meal a day, just to lose weight." Woo. "Xiao Wen, don't go too far. How to say that you have to eat 2 meals? Oh? What you said, just 2 meals. Episode 28. The two fought all the way and slowly came to the castle. Today, Xiao Wen, riding Swain, had not yet had time to step into the guard's cordon. When I saw Elsa and Anna, they were already standing at the door, waiting for his arrival. Swain saw the 2 princesses, snorted and sprinted excitedly. In a few seconds, they came to them, flattering, rubbing Anna and Elsa's arms. "This is the food and clothing parents for a period of time to come," Swain felt. "You must behave well, can't lie flat like before." Anna touched Swain's hairy head, but there was no happy look in his eyes. Instead, with some loss and unhappiness, even the smile at the corner of his mouth did not curve. This kind of emotion rarely happens in Anna. On the contrary, Elsa's expression on the side was still the same. There was a gentle smile on the corners of his mouth. In the big azure blue eyes, still as usual, he looked at Xiao Wen softly. Anna pouted, looked up at Xiao Wen, and said in disappointment, "Xiao Wen, can you not go? I think it's scary to think I won't see you for months." Charvan stepped off Swain's back, walked up to Anna. As always, he touched her little head. Then pinched her cheeks. Picking it up, he gave Anna a smile. "Well, I'll be back as soon as possible. This time I am also going back to my hometown to meet my family members I have never seen before. It's a meaningful thing, Anna, and you'll understand me, right?" Anna let Xiao Wen ravage her face, slurred words in the mouth, "But that's been too long. You be sure to go early and return early." Xiao Wen rubbed Anna's face for a while, after feeling a heartfelt comfort, only then lowered his hand, nodded in agreement. "Don't worry, I will definitely go early and return early. When I come back, I'll bring you the specialties over there. I'm going to bring you all the good food, the fun, and all the beautiful clothes and toys." Anna listened to Xiao Wen's gentle and spoiling words of comfort. A truly sweet smile finally hung on the corner of his mouth. She took Xiao Wen's hand and pulled up Elsa on the side. 3 people just like that stroll into the castle. It's just, behind them, there is also an elk that always feels like it is surrounded by a sour smell, spitting and silently following behind them. When the 3 entered the castle, I saw the royal couple coming from inside. Seeing Xiao Wen, King Aner smiled and greeted him with his wife. He looked at Xiao Wen, who was almost as high as his nose. The mouth sighed, "You boy, when I was 5 years old, I knew my 2 daughters, now counted down. It's been 7 years. Time flies so fast, before you know it, you've grown so tall. The future era should be the era of your young people." Xiao Wen scratched his head. Looking at the king, he said sincerely, "Uncle Aner, you and Aunt Queen are still as young as they were 7 years ago. These 7 years have not taken away the traces of the years on your faces. Even if I grow up in the future, it will belong to our common era." The queen on the side showed a gentle smile at the corner of her mouth, stepped forward, looked at Xiao Wen now, and quipped, "You, from the first day we knew you, have been very good at talking, always coaxing your uncle to shut his mouth. The future is handed over to you after all, and when you gradually become the protagonists of the times, then our generation of old people should retire with gratification." Hearing this, Xiao Wen's heart jumped slightly. He always felt that the queen's words, something was wrong. But soon, Anna on the side pounced, wrapped his arm around his mother's arm and said coquettishly, "Mom will never be old, she must always be young, always beautiful, and always be with her father." The queen's eyes glanced out the window at the sea. An inexplicable look flashed in his eyes. There was still a gentle smile on the corner of her mouth, reached out and touched his daughter Anna's hair, nodded and didn't say anything. Episode 29. After the pleasantries, the king also found an opportunity, stated the purpose of coming here to wait for Xiao Wen. While several people were chatting, as if suddenly remembering something, Aner spoke up. "Oh, by the way, Xiao Wen, when you go back this time, remember to say hello to old General Xiao Wei on my behalf. It will take you months to come and go back and forth this time. If you don't want to go back in the future, just bring the family documents and tokens by the way." After saying this, the king did not give Xiao Wen a chance to answer, continued to say to the 2 daughters, "Well, your mother and I won't disturb your last farewell moments. Let's all go and play, you don't have to study today's homework, accompany Xiaowen more. Let's go first. After getting a response from Anna and Elsa, the king left with the queen. While walking towards the gate, the queen also turned her head and reminded Xiaowen, remember to stay for dinner, the last meal before leaving, you can't go directly. Don't worry, Aunt Aduna, you don't need to be reminded, I will stay cheekily too. Aduna smiled and nodded. He turned around and walked out with the king. The couple walked out of the castle and got into the carriage. The harmonious and warm atmosphere just now suddenly disappeared. And the king's deep voice, also moving in the carriage, came out. Alas, Elsa's magic is getting stronger and stronger. Although she can still control herself now, we, as parents, should also think of a way. When the king said this, there was a hint of melancholy in his words, but also a hint of decisiveness. Ben was looking at the queen of the street outside the curtain in a daze. The bird that was docked on her wrist was gently thrown into the sky, then quietly turned his head, looking at her husband with love in his eyes, whispered, I think it's time to go to that place and find out. It's not just about finding the roots of the magic she possesses for Elsa. In order to find a way to unlock the gate of the fog in the northern frontier, go to find you and my people. King Aenir sighed. I still don't understand why you and my two races broke out in war many years ago. I've always believed in my father, but you also believe in your own people. This time through the Dead Sea, to find the Adahorn River, but also to find the real answer to the war that caused you and me. The queen's eyes were bright, she looked at her husband, and said gently, Aenir, I always have a hunch. The clansmen who survived the war on both sides are still living in the fog of northern Xinjiang and have not died. I really miss them. King Aenir looked at his wife, the crystal luster in his eyes, and his heart ached. He stretched out his hands and hugged each other tightly, in her ear, whispered, in that war, you saved me, and it was you who took me out of northern Xinjiang and came to the royal city of Arendelle. Although our two communities have always coexisted peacefully before the war. But after the outbreak of the war, there was already irresolvable contradiction and hatred, but you still saved me. Between you and me, whether it is kindness or love, Agnir cannot return it in my life. After so many years, you gave birth to two lovely daughters for me, so that I have two excellent heirs. My whole life is already dead without regrets. This time to Adahorn, let's find that answer together. I will always be with you, no matter what the real answer is, you must always believe in me, Aduna. Always believe in you. My husband. After the queen's murmur, the carriage had arrived at the place they frequented. The king looked at his affectionate wife. Without saying a word, he picked up his queen and kissed the corner of her mouth, then pulled a curtain and stride down the carriage, walked towards a certain luxurious house. Love to the depths, it's some indescribable kisses and love. With the sound of banging the door closed, it sounded, in broad daylight, a red heart seemed to appear in the sky. After a long time, the door opened again. The king walked out in a fit of spirit. Behind him, there was still the queen who was trembling with her feet. Episode 30, when I came to the carriage, King Aenir carefully helped his wife into the carriage, with a hearty smile, left this place. In the car, the red-faced queen was originally sleeping in Agnir's arms, with her eyes closed, but she seemed to have suddenly thought of something. Opening his watery eyes, he asked lazily, Aenir, can't you really see that the two little princesses in our family actually like Xiaowen? Although I think Xiaowen's child is very good, if he marries a wife, he can't marry both princesses, right? This thing? What's in mind? Aenir touched his wife's long hair, smiled, and said indifferently, Xiaowen, this little guy is so smart, he must understand what to like. He should also know the meaning of what I meant when I asked him to go back and get the family documents. Whether he likes Anna or Elsa, the end is actually already preordained. As our heir, Elsa must need the other party in the search for Wang Fu. Do you think this little guy Xiaowen will be willing? And in my opinion, it is clear that he is more doting on Anna, and the relationship between him and Elsa is only a friendship. So this kind of thing, it's already obvious, this little guy probably likes Anna's innocence and liveliness. For Elsa, it's just a friendship as a friend. The queen looked at her husband with such confidence in her eyes. An imperceptible helplessness flashed in his eyes, but she didn't say anything after all. After all, women's minds are more delicate than men's. She had already vaguely seen it. Xiaowen, this kid, in fact, he has been hiding his feelings for Elsa. As a mother, she can also clearly see her daughter Elsa. In fact, his feelings for Xiaowen are no worse than Anna, even more intense. That kind of look is exactly the same as the look he looked at when he was in love. There is no need to guess at all, the truth is already in front of the queen's eyes. However, children and grandchildren have their own children and grandchildren, whatever the future holds. As parents, they can only help when necessary. But what the future holds, it's up to them to decide. The consequences should also be borne by themselves. Thinking of this, the queen closed her eyes again, soft in the arms of the king, regain your wasted strength. The carriage continued to move, with countless guards behind it, sailed to his final destination, Arendelle North Bay. There, a huge steamer was docked, on the foggy sea, like a giant mouth of the abyss. Waiting, the arrival of the destined person. On the other side, in the castle of the royal palace. Xiaowen lay on the bed in the princess's boudoir. He was lying on his chest with Elsa, and Elsa has a press on Anna's back. Two girls who were sulking, is trying to torture Xiaowen. Think about it, it became the torture method of this stacked arhat. It's just that, it's a little embarrassing. Xiaowen is not only not uncomfortable, I even commented on it in my heart. Elsa's body, it has indeed gone to the highway of growth. Unlike the soft and sticky little Anna, it didn't give Xiaowen any feeling at all. Princess bed, Elsa hugged Xiaowen. With a red face, he rested his head on Xiaowen's neck and shoulders. There was a bit of a rapid breathing sound, hit Xiaowen's skin. It makes him feel a little itchy. This itch can be explained in multiple ways. But they all represent what Xiaowen wants to express. As a result, the punishment came to the end. Elsa couldn't stand it at first. The little girl's face was flushed. The body is also hot and scary. Only Anna was still pressing it. I don't understand the following situation at all. Still shouted unhappily. I know you're leaving this time on business, but I'm just not happy. You coax me quickly, otherwise Elsa and I will still press you. Xiaowen actually wanted to say, you press quickly, don't hesitate, the harder you press, the better. Let the storm come harder. But actually, he just stretched out his hand across his arms, tickling Anna, comforting with a smile. When I come back this time, I won't leave again for the rest of the time. When we grow up, if Anna and Elsa want to go on an adventure, he said, let's take Swain with us and go to every territory of the entire kingdom of Arendelle. Leave our footprints everywhere. We do, okay? My Two Royal Highnesses. Episode 31. Anna, who was tickled and giggled by Xiaowen, finally grabbed his hand. There was a longing glint in my eyes. Although Xiaowen's hand was caught, his words still did not stop. It's just that the person facing it has been replaced by Elsa. He held Elsa, close to her red ear. After a light bite, the hot breath in his mouth, continued. If you think of me, take out the pendant I carved for you. Looking at the name on it, maybe you won't miss it so much. Elsa bit her lip, unable to hear what Xiaowen said at all. She was already in a state of confusion at this time. The body involuntarily trembled violently. With a bang, Anna arched down. Elsa, who had no pressure on her body, ran for her life and struggled to open Xiaowen's arms, then quickly turn over, left the fiery embrace that made her obsessed and suffocated. Xiaowen looked at the appearance of the two little princesses. One was smiling. I don't know what good things I'm thinking. One looked confused, and his face turned red. I don't know what stimulus it was. Although there is no one in his arms to make himself comfortable and nostalgic, but the corners of Xiaowen's mouth still showed a bright smile. This kind of daily adjustment from an early age, for him, it's a dream thing. Now that the wish has been fulfilled, look back on the past. Remembering the scene when I first met Anna and Elsa, I felt so warm, as if it were yesterday. Wait until this time the matter is over, return to the kingdom of Arendelle. Wait a few more years, you can harvest the fruits of a good harvest naturally. Although Xiaowen had already expected it, by that time, he will suffer all kinds of tribulations from his father-in-law. But as the saying goes, it's good, as long as it is true love, not a simple gluttonous body. That early raw rice cooks mature rice. Father-in-law is even angry, then he has to admit it. Big deal, have a few more children with two princesses in the future. Let the father-in-law and children and grandchildren be full and enjoy the joy of nature. Isn't that nice? Anyway, Xiaowen is not covetous of imperial power at all. As long as it doesn't let him into trouble, everything is good to say. The bright smile on Xiaowen's face, in his fantasies, it gradually evolved into a giggle similar to Anna's. 3 people were on this big bed. Start fantasizing about your own fairy tale life. Time passes slowly, as is the case with usual years. When the 3 of them stay together, time is as if it has been stolen. It's always a long time that's always missing. At dinner, Shaman looked at the queen ant with trembling legs a little strangely. He didn't understand why he had only been out all afternoon. How did you get tired of this? It is difficult to be a queen of kings. Do you still need to do everything yourself, even walking on foot? With this doubt, Xiaowen finished this warm dinner. Under the reluctant gazes of Anna and Elsa, they gradually walked out of the castle. Swain was also watching. In those eyes, it also exudes reluctance and loss. He is the longest existence who has lived with Xiaowen. Not long after he was born, he was sent to Xiaowen's house. I became part of their family. Now parting for the first time, Swain felt very uncomfortable in his heart. There is a feeling of wanting to cry. And Anna had long been crouching on the side, holding one of Swain's feet. In the beautiful blue eyes, crystal tears have already emerged. He whimpered and shouted Xiaowen's name, but sad. Anna has been since she met Charvan. I never cried again. She has always been the innocent and kind, simple and brave little girl. Her attitude towards life is always positive and optimistic, cheerful and upward. There are no negative emotions that can be seen in Anna. It's just, when it came time to parting on this day, emotions surged in my heart. In the end, Anna couldn't resist the desire to cry out loud. but Anna knew if she cried out loud, Xiaowen will definitely hear it. He will definitely come and comfort himself. But the more she did this, the more she didn't want Xiaowen to leave. But Xiaowen left this time really had something important. She can't selfishly let Xiaowen accompany her forever. So Anna could only hold her voice. Holding Sven's leg, he sobbed softly, "Try not to let Xiaowen hear." And Elsa, on the side, although did not cry, but the whole person seems to have become a little cold. When Xiaowen's figure was about to disappear, Elsa took a deep breath. She could no longer hold back the emotions that burst out of her heart. At this moment, her emotions prevailed over reason. All etiquette and reservedness were thrown to the back of the mind. With no one around, Elsa lightly touched her feet. With the cold ice born from the soles of his feet, he rushed to the figure in front of him. Xiaowen in front walked. Suddenly a warning. He felt a powerful wave approaching him behind him. Before his body could fully react, behind his back, he was hugged tightly by a warm and familiar embrace. Episode 32. In this instant, Xiaowen smelled a familiar fragrance. His body naturally relaxed, and he sighed softly. I really can't say anything comforting. The two stood in place like this, neither moving. Elsa didn't say a word, just hugged Xiaowen desperately, and didn't want to let go for a moment. After a long time, Elsa's mood calmed down a bit. She finally released the hand holding Xiaowen, softly spoke, "Xiaowen, I. Alas." Elsa stopped what she wanted to say. Sigh softly, reorganizing the language, he said softly, "Pay attention to safety at sea, come back early, Anna and I are waiting for you." Xiaowen nodded, after turning around and looking around and no one else, gently hugged Elsa and printed it on her lips. This time, Xiaowen did not touch the dragonfly with water, but kissed for a full 10 seconds, before slowly leaving. "Don't worry, I will definitely come back early. You have to take care of Elsa, although she is very grinning, but her mind is equally delicate. When I am away, you have to take care of her, and when I come back, I will take care of you. And Swain, don't get used to him, this guy can't stop if he has something delicious. And you. You must grasp your emotions and mentality, do not get too excited about anything, and have calmness and reason as the future heir to the throne." After Xiaowen finished speaking, he touched Elsa's silky long hair. The eyes looked forward, looking at Anna, who was still crying sadly. "Take a deep breath and say nothing, turn around." Shaking his goodbye arm, he strode away. Elsa stood behind her, watching Xiaowen's figure slowly disappear. She touched her wet lips, feeling a little shy and sweet in her heart. This emotion washed away the sadness in Elsa's heart a lot. She was actually trying to say, "I feel that if he leaves this time, something may happen, and I want him to be careful." But this kind of unlucky words, before it was exported, he was stopped by Elsa. Only said to let him be careful and come back early. Elsa forcibly dispelled the worries in her heart, looking at the back that has disappeared in front of him. Turning his head, he slowly came to Anna's side. Holding his sister, he comforted him softly. No one noticed. In the originally empty hall, at this time, there is a person who is normally in the dark, silently watching all this. Until the moment she saw Xiaowen kissing her daughter, only then let out a long sigh and turned away in distress. Charvin returned to the cabin alone, looking at the empty room, a rare feeling of coldness. He sat in the room for a while, then get up, pack all your belongings, packed and placed at the gate. As the sky gradually darkened, the coachman who specialized in picking up Xiaowen drove his horse slowly from afar. After a pleasantries, the coachman helped Xiaowen and put all the luggage on the frame, finally humming an old ballad, back in town. The next morning, when the sun is still out, Daddy woke Xiaowen up. The family took their luggage and drove to the harbor. 8 o'clock in the morning, the carriage arrives at its destination. At this time, the dock had already docked a small merchant ship. After the family stepped onto the boat and stored all their belongings, it didn't take long for merchant ships to start up. With the ripples of the sea, it began its new journey. On the ship's board, Xiaowen's gaze fell on the land of Arendelle in the distance. He stood on the highest deck, looking ahead. A bright smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Because in his field of vision, on the shore, I don't know when, there is already a robust elk standing in the harbor. And on the back of the elk, but there were 2 beautiful little girls sitting, one big and one small. They are no one else. It was his 2 little princesses, Anna and Elsa. After seeing Xiaowen's gaze, Anna, who was on Swain's back, stretched out her hand and dangled it above her head. It seems that something is still shouting in his mouth. It was as if he was saying goodbye. The ships have sailed a distance of several hundred meters. Xiaowen couldn't hear what Anna was shouting anymore. In his field of vision, I could only see Anna on Swain's back, waving her hand fiercely, and Elsa sat there quietly. The eyes seemed to be constantly watching his direction, quietly, without any movement. Episode 33. Xiaowen didn't care if the other party could see it or not. Standing on the splint, the smile at the corner of his mouth became more and more exaggerated, also waving his hand at the side of the port, still shouting in his mouth, "Wait for me to come back. You guys have to take care of yourselves." Xiaowen kept shouting in his mouth, and on the other side of the board is the Shasters. He looked at this scene with a smile. ever since they befriended the royal couple. About the matter of Wangzi eating phoenix, the two already have a bottom in their hearts. Those two little princesses, both of whom the couple liked very much. It doesn't matter which one marries Xiaowen, that's all a thankful thing. It's just that Xiaoster feels that if Xiaowen wants to marry the future heir to the throne, Elsa, that would be very difficult, and it would be almost impossible without going into it. But Anna is different. Although he is a royal princess, if he marries someone who is of the blood of a top nobleman, generally speaking, it should be a normal wife, and the children should take the father's surname. Therefore, in Xiaoster's view, Xiaowen is likely to marry Anna in the future. After all, this little girl who often visits their house, it always brings happiness and warmth to everyone. Compared to Elsa, Xiaoster wants to be at home. There can be one more lively and cute daughter-in-law like Anna. It's just a pity that my wife prefers Elsa's girl. I must have taken a fancy to her delicate mind and calm temperament. Over time, the ships drove farther and farther away. Until the two figures on the pier disappeared completely, Xiaowen looked away and cast his gaze on the sea, not knowing what he was thinking. And on the pier, the two little princesses could only see a small black dot, more and more blurred, more and more faded. Anna lowered her already softened little hand. Holding my sister, I said in a somewhat hoarse voice, "Elsa, let's go." Elsa patted Swain and said softly, "Well, let's go, Swain, we should go back too." Woo-hoo-hoo. Heller. Swain turned his head and slowly left in the direction of the palace castle. While walking, he also inexplicably spat out a snort. Hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. In other words, will Xiaowen come back to meet you in a few months with a beautiful girl? As soon as these words came out, the air suddenly fell silent. Anna's somewhat sobbing voice suddenly disappeared. Elsa's words also came to an abrupt end. There seemed to be more murderous ice in the air. Swain felt cold and threatening. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Sorry, I barked at the dog just now. Please ignore my snort. Humph. Xiaowen will not bring other girls back to the kingdom of Arendelle. Swain, you will tell nonsense. Anna said this without much confidence. Then he suddenly hesitated and leaned into Elsa's ear, whispered, "Elsa, what should we do if Xiaowen really brings a girl back?" Hearing my sister's somewhat worried words, Elsa's pretty unspeakable face, a graceful and bright smile was revealed, gently opened his lips and said softly, "Then let's turn this guy into an ice sculpture, okay? Wouldn't it be cruel? Yes? If that happens, it really happened. I also want to freeze that strange woman into an ice sculpture with Swain." Swain walked silently on the road, never dared to spit out a snort again. I'm really worried about Xiaowen's future, whether the goal of sharing the blessings of Qi people can be achieved. On the sea in the distance, inside the cabin. In a room by the window. Shasta and Lolis were talking to a middle-aged man. "Egu, what happened to his condition, father? Is there a way to heal?" The middle-aged man named Egu shook his head. "Young master, you also know that the general has already left all kinds of dark wounds in his body when he fought on the battlefield in his early years. To be able to live to this age, the general is already very satisfied. His last wish is to see you again when he goes back, and by the way, see his grandson again." Shast frowned lightly and continued to ask, "Why didn't my father write me a letter?" Egu smiled wryly. "The general has long been bedridden and no longer has the strength to write a letter." "Has it reached such a serious point?" "Yes." "So how is my brother now? How is the family doing now?" Listen to Shasat's words. Egu's eyes flickered, and a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Young Master Cherrigan is now the head of the knights, and now he is also in charge of the overall situation in the family. Episode 34. Seeing Egu say this, Xiaoset's frown finally relaxed slightly. He nodded and did not continue the topic. Instead, he pulled his wife Lolith and introduced Egu. After a long conversation, Shaster left the room with his wife. I went back to my house. At this time, there was no longer Feng Kai's indifference and smile on his face. It began to become a little dignified. "What's wrong? I just felt that something wasn't quite right with you. What happened? Is there something wrong with the man named Egu?" In the face of his wife's inquiry, Shast shook his head and said a little strangely, "Egu, this man, used to be a member of my father's guards. I still had a very good impression of him when I was a child. It's just that I haven't seen each other for more than a decade. I don't know if it's my delusion or what. I always felt as if he was a little defensive about me." Listening to her husband, Lolis also frowned, carefully recalled the scene when he talked to Egu, but after a long time, she still shook her head and said softly, "Could it be your delusion? I feel that he is quite normal and a good person." Shaster rubbed his head, glancing at the azure waters outside the cabin. After sighing lightly, he said, "Maybe I'm too perceptive, and the adventures I've had over the years have always surprised me. It's just that what makes me a little puzzled is that I don't know any of these people who came from the kingdom of Hegrin to find us, except for Egu. It stands to reason that since there are so many people coming, there must be a few that I am familiar with. If it weren't for the fact that I still remember Egu, I wouldn't even dare to go with them." Saying that, Shaster stepped forward and put his arm around his wife. A smile appeared at the corner of his mouth, and he said softly, "It's probably really too much to worry about, but I think before arriving in the Hygrin kingdom, I should inform the family in advance, just in case." You and the queen have studied for so long, and I will ask you to inform the family about this, my dear Lilith. Lilith leaning back in Shasit's arms. Although I feel that my husband is overthinking, but he nodded and asked, it's been more than 10 years, so the position of the family shouldn't have changed, right? Shast smiled and shook his head. How is it possible? It's an ancestral house that has been passed down for hundreds of years, where can it be said to change? Well, then, you write letters, write a few more, don't write too much. Even though the queen helped me, I still only learned a little bit of it. I'll go to the deck later, and if I'm lucky enough to meet those birds, I can let them go today. It's probably half a month before us. Xiaosite nodded, took his wife to the bed and sat down, and said with a smile, okay, I'll write it in a moment. Then he said with some emotion, the queen can have a special talent for controlling birds and affinity animals, and you can learn some fur, which is already very powerful. Like me, don't say learned, even the first thought when I meet a bird is to roast and eat. Lolis rolled her eyes, took the pair of moving hands away, and said helplessly, but the queen also praised me, saying that I was the first to be taught by her. However, I can only control those few birds. This ability, but it is better than nothing. Xia Sde's fingers rubbed, and he said a little whim. In other words, if our son marries the princess, will the future grandson inherit this ability? Yes. Maybe. Loris hummed softly to finish the sentence, pointing to the curtain of the window, then bite your lip, close your eyes, and stop talking. It's night, a day at sea, and so it passed. At night, Xiaowen took the 3 or 2 small fish caught in the bucket, a small flame lit in his hand, and he happily added a meal to himself. After eating, Xiaowen lay down on the bed and played with the small fireball in his hand. Although he has been complaining about his little fireball, but in fact, that's just a comparison with Elsa. If so many years have passed, Xiaowen's fire has also been developed by him for a variety of purposes. Now, he can throw fireballs within 10 meters, it can accurately hit each specified target, and now, throwing a fireball within a range of tens of meters, it will not be naturally extinguished. It's no longer the spark that it once was. As long as he wants, every part of the body can burst out the fire element. Even if you make yourself a fireman, it's okay. And Xiaowen's current physical fitness, I don't know if it is because of the growth of elemental magic, and his current strength has become very strong. He had tried that with all his strength, he could lift Swain up horizontally. Although it won't last long, but already much stronger than ordinary people. You know, he's only 12 years old now. Xiaowen played in bed for a while, yawned and savored before going to bed Elsa's cold lips for a moment, then he closed his eyes and fell into a deep sleep. Episode 35, It was late at night. And at this moment, in the royal palace castle of the kingdom of Arendelle, Anna was holding Elsa on the bed, the little head shook around, he kept chanting Xiaowen's name. It made Elsa cry and laugh. Elsa got up, lay on the end of the bed, and took Anna in her arms, sing the tunes that their mothers taught them when they were children, shaking Anna, soothing her inner emotions. After a long time, little Anna finally closed her eyes in her sister's arms, breathing gradually flattened, fell asleep. Elsa slowly placed her sister on the pillow and covered the quilt, but he got out of bed, shaking the ice blue nightdress to the window, looking at the moon in the distance. Today is the first day that Xiaowen left. In just one day, it didn't actually make her worry much. Elsa was just a little melancholy, not sleepy. This melancholy is not only because of Xiaowen's departure today, or because on the same day, her father and mother also told her and Anna that they were going to go to sea and leave for a while. It may also take a month or 2 to come back. And the time they left was a week later. At this moment, except for her sister Anna, all the people she cares about will be away for a while in the near future. This made Elsa very unhappy. She also asked her parents why they went to sea, but I couldn't get an answer. Just vaguely told that there is something important and nothing more. Elsa's heart was a little irritable, unconsciously. Her body surface has already condensed a little bit of ice. It is spreading outward at an extremely slow rate. And the temperature in the room, it's also gradually decreasing. After a long time, ahem. Anna's cough sounded. Elsa suddenly woke up. The cold ice on the body surface instantly dissipated into invisibility. Elsa stretched out her slender fingers. A gentle touch on the windowsill. Bang! The sound of ice crystals breaking came quietly. It then turned into a splash and invaded the planks. Elsa noticed that she had just lost control and did not control the elemental magic in her body. There is still some cold temperature in the room. She quickly turned around and came to the bed, wrapping the quilt around her sister a little tighter. Elsa felt a little guilty for not controlling the magic in her body, but she didn't care about her loss of control. For Elsa, this situation was nothing more than an accidental mistake. It's not worth distracting too much attention to. But what Aisha didn't know was that Xiaowen hadn't told her so far. If Elsa's emotions are out of control and the magic in her body explodes, a terrifying disaster will occur. Elsa only knew that Xiaowen had said to herself, keep your mood and mindset and don't get too excited. This will be of great help in controlling your elemental magic. And that's exactly what happened. In Elsa's 13 years of life, there has never been a scene where magic gets out of control. Xiaowen has always been subtle. The fear in her heart for possessing elemental magic gradually dissipated and became invisible under the relationship between the two. In Elsa's eyes, Xiaowen, a companion with the magic power of the fire element, will always be by his side, then she has nothing to fear. Knowing that your path is not lonely is enough. Elsa came to the bed, picked up the moon-green fruit pendant on the cabinet. Looking at the two names of Elsa and Xiaowen portrayed above, a sweet smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. She put the pendant to her mouth, gently kissed the place of Xiaowen's name, then dropped the pendant, get under the covers, reach out and hug your sister's soft and sticky body, slowly fell into a deep sleep. 7 days later. Early in the morning, entrance to the hall of the royal palace castle of the kingdom of Arendelle. At this time, the royal couple had already packed their bags and were saying goodbye to their 2 daughters. Anna held her mother's hand and pouted, not wanting to let go. In the eyes of the queen, endless tenderness and kindness appeared. She leaned down, gave Elsa a gentle kiss on the cheek, and said with a smile, "During the time we are gone, Anna should listen to her sister, and when we return, your brother Xiaowen will almost return home. At that time, we will bring you gifts." Anna slowly released her mother's hand. There was a little grievance in his eyes, but he still nodded. Seriously instructing his parents like a little adult, "Then you must go early and return early, and pay attention to safety." King Agron also stepped forward, touched Anna's little head, and said with a smile, "We must go early and return early."